welcome to Our Time.
Great to have your company. Janice, can you remember the first joke you ever heard?
No.
I can. It
Really?
was so rude.
What?
It's so rude. Listen, I'm going to tell you, so don't be offended. It was...
How old were you when you first heard?
About 4.
Right.
Can a bee pee?
Can a bee pee?
No, but a fish can fluff because I've seen the bubbles. I thought that was just hysterical. And see, it moves up, it works its way up, doesn't it?
That's really cute.
Well, BP, of course, was the petrol at the time, and we thought that was just the rudest joke.
Ever.
The rudest joke you could possibly tell. Craig Egan, Mr. Adelaide Comedy.
Hello, guys.
Is that a rude joke today?
Not by what I've heard.
But you did laugh at that.
I did. I gave it a little giggle.
It's funny. It's all funny always, or does funny change, do you think?
I think comedy changes all the time, every 6 months. I know comics have talked about being gone from the industry. They take a break for a little while and they come back and everything's changed. I think comedy is always changing to whoever the market is, and the market's always changing as well as people grow older and experience new things and different things.
So it is. Do you think it is more towards personal experiences then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it...
the stories have become stories about often the comic.
Yeah, that's right. People are telling their own story these days. I think that's where we're going on the journey with you. There's so many different styles, and you can't put it all down to one. I mean, some people are just absurd and silly, and other people are political comics. But I do enjoy a storyteller.
Billy Connolly, for one.
Well, storyteller, great storyteller, and
curses every second word.
Yes, but he always says it in the accent. My mum always said, "I don't mind it when he says it because it's the way he says it."
That's
I would say it, and they're like, no, you can't do that.
That's exactly right.
We should just explain who you are for people who are in the eastern states who don't see your face or your hairy face regularly. Craig actually makes Adelaide Comedy here in South Australia work, because not only is he encouraging of local comedians, but he also brings and tours comedians from really everywhere.
Yeah, all around the world, really, all around the country. Basically, the way Adelaide Comedy works is we run about 4 gigs a week and an open mic night. So we're always looking for that next generation of South Australian acts. And then we watch those, and then we start putting them into some of the bigger gigs with some of those people that we've brought over. And
so
they
you're
all
sort
learn
of
from each other.
mentoring at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. And we're very proud to watch so many Adelaide comedians to have come through the Rhino Room and a bunch of our other venues over the years and have gone on to do really great things.
We mustn't forget to talk about the Rhino Room, but how did you start in comedy? Did you start as a stand-up? Yeah,
I did. I was a nerdy kid to start with, and as a nerdy kid you need a way to get out of that, and making people laugh was a pretty good way to do it. So the first thing I did when I got out of school was find the nearest comedy club, and yeah, it was Comics Comedy Cellars.
It wasn't,
those days.
oh okay, I was going to say it wasn't your bedroom in front of the mirror. That was,
that's where you start.
You weren't the audience of one.
Yeah, you've got to start it there somewhere.
And drive the parents nuts.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure I did that. Just ask my parents. But yeah, I started out there at the time. It was the only place I knew that did it. And I sort of did a couple of years down there, and then one of the comics there brought me down to Rhino Room for the first time, and I've been there ever since. And that was about 98.
Was that with Dave Flanagan?
Yeah.
Passed away?
Yes, I was
year,
just about to say, it's more or less the grandfather of modern comedy.
Yeah.
I was lucky, as you and I have both been lucky, to work with a lot of older people who have been extraordinarily funny over the years, like dear Phil Skinner and Wally Carr, Marie Fidock, and
Michael Shine.
Michael, yes, absolutely. Michael's still being funny, actually. But then comedy changed, and the theatre restaurant type comedy and the concerty and show type comedy changed from being big shows with sketches to people just standing up and talking with a single microphone. Yeah, certainly I think saved a bit of money.
Definitely moved that direction, but I mean, there's almost like a rebirth of all of that kind of sketch stuff going on. The Auntie Donna crew, which are very weird and wonderful, but they're very sketch orientated and
barefooted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm up with it all.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
I don't just sit next to you and talk.
They were on the Melbourne Comedy Festival Gala last night doing amazing, weird, wonderful things.
That was a month or so ago.
Oh, yeah, when it was recorded.
That was when it went to air.
Yes, when it went to air, yes. But yeah, look, they're all doing amazing things. And on that same gala, we had 2 Adelaide comedians,
Yes.
Ivana Aristogeta and Demi Lardner,
Well,
closed the show. Yeah.
Ivana actually performed for us in a local tour just when he first came to Adelaide. And it was really interesting to see in just a short period of time, because he worked as a comic in South
Venezuela,
America,
yeah.
but he hadn't done that much here, and he was just finding his feet here.
So when we saw him, he was on the open mic night, starting right at the bottom.
Second language.
Second
as well.
language, just learning English.
Yeah.
But he moved like a comic. You know, he had swagger. He had, you know...
It's the rhythm of speech, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's the way the thing rolls.
That's right, yeah.
Sometimes you can say the most unfunny things, and I'm a perfect example of that. But you get a laugh because you just said it the right way.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not necessarily funny what you say, it's the way you say.
Well, writing is definitely a great skill to have, and it's got to have the writing in there, but it's so much to do with the performance as well, and that can come down to an eyebrow or a little wink to the audience.
Stephen K. Amos is a very good example of that.
Perfect.
Most people in Australia know who he is.
Yeah.
And he's just got that lovely, I'm looking at you sideways because I've just been really naughty.
Yeah.
And you've just got it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's fantastic, isn't he? Yeah.
So what do you feel for you is going to be the future with comedy here in Adelaide? Because the Rhino Room that's been the stalwart for so long for local comics, as has the one at Dave's old place,
Comedy
have closed, and now what's happening with Rhino?
Yeah, so Rhino, there's a 36-storey building being built over the top of our beloved home where everybody had their first gig, everybody rocked a gig for the first time, everybody sucked really hard for the first time. All those great, wonderful memories that we've had in there, it's getting knocked down for a 36-storey building.
Where are you going?
We're going to Perry Street. We did a beautiful thing in the Fringe where we ran a big crowdfunding campaign, and I always knew there was a community out there, but this proved it. Yeah, they really did. So we asked for $38,000 to be able to help us move to a new venue, and we raised $46,000 at the end of the day. And that's an incredible thing to be able to give us that boost to be able to go out and provide that new place for the next generation of young comics to come through.
Well, is it a community, Craig? Is that what it is? Has that comedy scene actually developed a community of people that like to go out and hear the stories of people's ups and downs in life, their foibles, their excitement?
Because you feel like you're not alone anymore. You know, when you hear someone, you know, self-deprecating or whatever it is, the laughter that comes out of it is, oh, that's like me, or that's like a person I know, or whatever that is. And all of a sudden you go, oh, I am a part of a community. I am a part of something that might be a little bit bigger than myself. Who
do you think started stand-up? And having asked the question, I'm going to answer it a little myself. I remember seeing Bob Hope.
Yeah.
I saw him towards the end of his career as a live performer. Yeah. And he did 2 types of shows within the same show. Right. Because he was filming, you know, Bob Hope always did with the overseas Army, Navy, Air Force things.
The
he always
tours.
did the US, thank you. Yeah. Always did those things. But then when he did an international tour, he always recorded a bit of the show. Right. So up the middle aisle were idiot sheets with all of the fast-paced standby local jokes, which they would edit down. But the rest of the show was his old act, his old vaudeville act, where it was just one sort of funny line, bang, 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 bang. And he was just hysterical. And I'd seen the TV guy, but I'd never seen the live guy. And it really showed the difference with understanding what television timing is as opposed to live timing. Is this hard for young comedian to sort of get their head around?
Yeah, because they're two
without
entirely
TV,
different
no one
things.
will know they exist.
That's right.
On a national basis.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But although what's happened, and you were asking about the change, is that the internet's happened, and that's huge in that anybody can be in their bedroom and record something, and if it's funny enough, it can go viral. It can get out there in a massive, massive way. I think sometimes in the old days we felt like certain people had the keys to the kingdom, and unless you knew who those people were, you were never going to get famous. So unless you did really well on Hey Hey It's Saturday on Red Faces.
Yes, exactly. And what a shame those things have gone too.
Yeah. But I think that's where things like raw comedy have sort of replaced that kind of stuff. And there are other options, there are other ways. And in fact, the latter now, I think it seems more achievable to young comics than maybe it ever did, because where would you have gone in the early days, you know, other than a local place? You know, we had a real TV industry here in Adelaide, and that sort of moved to Melbourne and Sydney and everything. And so these sorts of things that are out there now are really important.
But we're talking on a national basis here, because when we're just talking about the comedy show we were talking about, there were comedians who obviously have started in Perth, Brisbane, and this show goes to air all around the country. So there are people probably watching this thinking, I wonder if I could do that. I've always fancied myself as a bit of a comedian. How do I start?
Do you want to start?
No. No. I'll just quickly tell you the story when I did a talent show many years ago. Ostentatious was on the same talent show.
Yes.
But he won. He was and I was meant to sing afterwards. Do you think I was like, oh God, I'm going to step after my stomach hurts? So I know I have to sing. Funniest thing I'd ever heard. He was unbelievable.
He was new.
He was brand new
really
and
new
a really different style of comedy.
So if you want to try and give it a go and see if you can get back on top of Ostentatious, come down to open mic nights at Rhino
give it a go.
We do that every week. We always have the open mic nights out there. So if there is anybody out there who is looking to be a comic, please come down and have some fun with us. Because
so this is in Adelaide, in South Australia. And those places basically exist all over the country.
That's right. So everyone's got an open mic night.
So
somewhere.
really, to answer the question, that's the best way in,
live
to go to a live open mic night and see if you've got the goods.
Yeah, I mean, there are courses around the place, but until you get up there in front of a group of people and work out if it's actually funny, you can learn little bits and pieces, but you've got to learn your voice, and you'll only ever learn that on stage.
And you'll only find out if you're funny if people actually start to laugh at you.
That's right. Yeah.
Who aren't people necessarily that know you.
No.
Because that's the other thing. Oh, you're so funny, you should be a comedian. But it's often only within your little peer group.
And most people start like that. They laugh with their mates and they go, oh, I think I'm a bit funny, I might give it a go. And they'll come up and tell their story about Robbo, and you guys all know Robbo, and people don't know Robbo, and then it doesn't work.
No.
But it's about taking that story and tweaking it a little bit and working with it. And like I said, there's a real community of comics who will run through that kind of stuff with you and sort of teach you how to turn your story into something really great for everybody.
It's the economy of words. And it's the rhythm that you do it with. It is the bottom
expression.
line.
Expression.
Well, there's a million things. There's all tools to your trade. There's all sorts of art brushes that you can use. But yeah, there's...
And it's just great to have you. But congratulations on your new engagement.
Yes.
To a lovely lady who's been on this program many times. And we're just delighted for you.
Thank you.
So what do you want to be when you grow up? And make it short, we're running out of time.
I want to be exactly what I am now. I love what I get to do. And I want to be able to continue doing this for a very long time.
Best thing in life.
We
hope you have that feeling in life too, and we'll be back with a girl who is of Sri Lankan background, who lives in South Australia, who's quite famous in Spain because she is a Spanish dancer or flamenco dancer.
Is she dancing for it?
I don't know, but if I was a white ant, I'd definitely be careful. We'll be back soon.
Hola. Hola.
Oh,
Olé.
olé.
Or hola.
It's hola. Roshan Wijaratna is...
Roshan, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Our Time. You said you did it so well.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I've been wanting to talk to you for ages because I think your backstory is brilliant.
Back?
Okay.
What's wrong with the back?
Oh, well, it's all that killing the ants and the floor.
It's all that
business.
flamenco, it's all that footwork.
No. It's because you're not Spanish.
I'm not Spanish. You are right.
But you are Australian.
I am Aussie, yes.
But your parents came from
Sri Lanka.
too much tea drinking.
Gosh.
Get that?
Yeah.
So how does an Australian with a Sri Lankan background end up as a Spanish, I was going to say expose, but that's not quite right either, is it? As a Spanish flamenco dancer, or is it flamenco and flamenca?
It's flamenco.
Right.
The name of the art form is flamenco.
Flamenco.
Yes.
But you're called, your business, your dance...
The dance school and the dance company are called Alma Flamenca, and that's got to do with Spanish grammar.
Okay.
And that's the
mas-
amazing thing, because you've also learnt Spanish. Apart from learning to stamp out the old ants,
More
you've
or less.
also learnt Spanish.
Yeah.
To speak.
Well, I go there and train, so just by being there, I've sort of soaked up some of the language as well, which is, I guess, important to
Of
be.
course.
But what's
Yeah, of course.
interesting in all of our lives is, what is it that motivates us to want to do something? So what motivated you to become a Spanish dancer?
That's a good question.
I only ask good ones.
I've loved dance ever since I can remember, and my parents will vouch for that. I just love movement. The music would come on. My family are all musical. My father, Ranjan, he's a very gifted musician, plays keyboard, drums, guitar, self-taught, sings. My mother sings. All three of my brothers play instruments. So I think
You can't help but be musical
No.
to some degree then if you've had all that.
exactly.
And she went to the Johnny Young Talent School as well.
That would
I
help.
sure did. So I think I'm sure that influenced my love of music and surely my love of dance as well.
So as a child, the family, I found this interesting, that you used to put together, well, not that kids don't do this, but
Yeah.
you went further than just performing in the lounge room, didn't you?
Yeah,
For
there
the
were a lot of
family.
rehearsals in the lounge room. My dad my parents spearheaded a family group. And we did a mixture of Sri Lankan music and English music, and we put on our own family shows. So we had like the Wijaratna Six, and that's not what we were called. I sort of mirror the whole
It's the Jackson 5 and the say it again.
the Wijaratna Six.
There you go. A name that just trips off the tongue.
It just rolls off the tongue. But yeah, I mean, we all loved music, and our parents encouraged us to follow our passions. And in fact, we've all found careers in music and the arts and entertainment, aside from all the other things that we do. And we would put together family shows and actually do productions for the local communities in different venues.
So at what point did Spanish dance or flamenco come into this?
Well, I was the one of my roles in the family group was to sing, but also to dance. And at that point, I was doing jazz, ballet, ballroom dancing, and tap dancing. And so I did these numbers, and I also did traditional Sri Lankan Kandyan dancing and pahan dancing, which is with candles. And
Oh, okay, yes.
yeah, I had done all of those dances as a part of the show, like, you know, the cabaret dance item in the musical sets. And eventually, Mum was kind of like, all right, we're getting sick of this, give me something different. So she saw a picture of a flamenco dancer in a newspaper and said, why don't you do this? That woman was one of my first teachers, Liana Vargas. And from then on, that's where I started.
How
And
old were you when you started that?
I think I was about 16.
Okay.
So I had danced since, I think I started classes when I was about 2.
So
Yeah,
but your brain
yeah.
was
But
wired then
flamenco.
to
The
pick up.
flamenco.
that.
Yeah, well, I loved tap. I was in love. In fact, I didn't even want to do flamenco dancing at first. I can't believe that that's actually the case, but I was so in love with tap dancing, I thought, no.
But it is a similar thing. It's a lot of stomping and stepping, isn't it, really, with the... they do.
There's definitely like rhythm with the feet.
Yeah.
It's a different technique, though,
It
isn't
is.
it?
It's a
Yeah.
very different technique to Irish dancing and tap dancing. In fact, for me, I would say that the flamenco technique is much more parallel to Indian styles of dancing, when they have the bells on the feet and the way they dig their feet into the ground with the heels and the balls. There's actually more of a parallel with that style rather than the lighter toe tapping of tap dancing. Yeah.
Which is interesting in itself, because the rhythms are so different, though, aren't they? To like tap dancing and the rhythms that you perform.
Yes.
There's a whole different pickup style of the foot and so on.
Absolutely.
Have you got your shoes? We must
I've
get.
got. Yes, I'm actually wearing a pair of flamenco shoes
Oh,
right now.
whip them off.
You want to take my shoes off?
Oh, well, put your leg up here. Put your foot in
There we
my
go.
hand.
It's a
There you go. Yeah, so,
Ladies and gentlemen.
testing my flexibility.
yes, but we need to look here on camera 3, because you actually do have steel bits on the heel,
Okay.
the same as with tap shoes.
Yeah,
and
so they're
on here.
nailed in. They're literally
the toe.
fat-headed and short short nails that they nail into the shoe.
Put your leg down.
Oh, done.
I was going to say with the tap shoe, it's further down too, isn't
Or
it?
you've got,
actually?
the
Yeah.
taps are a bit longer. And there's
Yeah, yes.
jingle taps and stuff.
Actually,
as
and
well.
that does make a really big difference percussively with the shoe. Tap shoes cover more of the ball,
Yeah.
and so they have that more tingy sort of high tone. Whereas with flamenco, I find that I can make more of a drum kit variation of sounds because the ball has got much more of a bass.
Well, let's have a look and a listen to what it does sound like for you.
Okay.
This is Roshane doing a little number, actually at my theatre, isn't it? Is that its start?
Yeah, that's at Star Theatre. It is at Star Theatre in the main theatre. That was Flamenco Live.
Yeah.
We did that as a part of Cabaret Under the Star.
Oh, of course. And you, because your troupe were part of our Cabaret Under the
That's
Star.
right. That's right.
Special first night.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I do remember
And that's
that.
why I've been wanting to have you on the show, because we never really get a chance to talk in those situations to everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just lovely to have something completely different, you know, and your style, the girls that you're working with, the dressing, the percussionists, the guitarists, makes up a complete show,
They are
of which you've
wonderful.
had
So
many.
They are
those
wonderful.
girls, that's not your family. So that group of girls is obviously some
They're
girls
my
that-
flamenco
They're
family.
your flamenco family.
Yeah,
So,
so-
how often do you get to perform together as a group like that?
Actually, we do a lot of gigs around Adelaide. We do all kinds of events. We just did WOM Adelaide, which was a great event for us to be a part of. We do restaurant gigs, all kinds of things, and our own
Weddings.
productions. Yeah.
There you go.
Any Spanish-themed event, you know, we're happy to share flamenco with as many people as we can, and we put on our own productions. Definitely once a year, but sometimes up to 4 times a year. It depends on what creative processes we have going on in the school.
How different are they sort of stories you're doing in dance? Are they the purpose? This might sound like a daft question, but for everybody that dances, is everybody telling a story, or are they just look at me, I can do this type thing? Some dance stuff is just you can't believe, my goodness, how do they do that? Look at classical dance, women literally working on their toes, on their tippy toes.
Yeah.
Dance is such a diverse physical thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you feel you're telling a story or creating rhythms? What do you feel you're doing as you're performing?
You do ask great questions.
I know, only good ones.
I think it's a mixture of what you were saying. For me, what I love most about flamenco is its openness and its invitation to express your true emotions. And there are different palos in flamenco, so different rhythms, different songs, and they all tell different stories, and often they have, you know, a sort of general theme. You know, there's a wahira, which is generally quite breezy and flirtatious, and then, you know, there's a sigaria, which is generally the songs that are sung are much more deep about loss and kind of the more sadder parts of life. You know, there's a great span of
So
music.
when there's a lyric, you're working within the lyric?
You're working very much within the lyrics. I mean, flamenco started with the singing, so it really actually is. As hard as I work, I don't believe I'm the most important part of flamenco. It's the singing.
I do recall, I was overseas, I was in Barcelona. We did go to see Spanish dancing, and the emotion of the guitarist, it's also like the woman and the man together dancing, and the emotion of the guitarist as well as a combination is really moving, really exciting.
It's an incredible feeling.
Look,
yeah.
hang on, and we're just going to move for a minute into a quick break, and we'll move straight back again. See you in a tick.
And here we are with Roshane Widjeratna.
Yep, close.
You say that so well.
A beautiful name to say.
Oh, thank you.
It is. What do you in your life want to get out of being a Spanish dancer? Because I know it's a real passion for you.
I would like to encourage and help facilitate others to feel the passion of flamenco, because it's such a beautiful thing.
So for people watching this all around the country, I guess you can find out about, if there's somewhere you can find out more about Spanish dance, in your local capital city, but here in Adelaide, you actually run a school as well, don't you?
Yes, I run a dance school and a professional dance company called Alma Flamenca. So our school is in Bowden, in the new Bowden Arts Precinct, and we have classes running all week, and we have a professional company that do shows as well.
And the people using it, people that maybe don't want to work professionally, just using it as a good form of exercise, a safe form of exercise?
Absolutely, I like to work them hard. But yeah, definitely, it's a great form of exercise. You work your whole body, and it's also really good emotionally because you have to get in touch with how you're feeling in order to really express, and it's a beautiful community as well.
Well, don't worry about getting the white ant people in, because if you Spanish dance practice at home, they'll just leave you alone.
Out of the way.
Rishant, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
It's been great to talk to you for the first time.
Good
Been
luck.
great to see you again. Remember, you can find us on Facebook. We also are on YouTube, so you can watch any of the past episodes. And we've had some brilliant guests over those almost 7 years we've been doing this program.
And we'll have more. So
we will.
please, yes.
So until next time,
Join us again next time
keep
on
yourself
Our
nice
Time.
till then.
Bye.
Bye.